Howdy howdy, my name is John. This video is a review and discussion of the book Tyrant's Throne by Sebastien de Castell. This is the fourth book in the Greatcoats series and the final book as well. I'm going to keep the review section of this video fairly short. I gave the novel 4 stars. I enjoyed it more than Saint's Blood, but not quite as much as I did the first 2 in the series. If you enjoyed the humor in the first 3 books of the series, you'll definitely enjoy it in this book as well. I had a couple of issues with the book, but I'm going to talk about those in the spoiler discussion, which is coming up. So now I'm going to discuss spoilers, so proceed at your own risk. I'm going to talk about the things that I did not like about this book first. The biggest question I wanted answered was a fuller discussion on why the Dukes turned on Palis. It's mentioned in the first 3 books of the series, but it doesn't really get addressed here. And I would have liked to have seen a more thorough explanation of why they turned on him. And here again, since it's a first-person narrative, maybe one of the Dukes could have tried to explain it to Falcio. I'm sure Falcio would have rejected the reasoning, but it would have at least given the reader a clearer picture. Another thing I didn't like is the assumption that kind of runs throughout the whole series that the Dukes kind of were incompetent at managing local affairs. And here again, maybe it would have been better if we could have seen a more nuanced picture where some of the Dukes did really well, keeping the roads in repair and keeping bandits off of them, whereas some of the Dukes did not. But in this series, we almost always see the Dukes kind of being incompetent. They're just, they're petty and they're in it for themselves. The last thing I want to touch on is this book never really does a good job convincing me that Morn was in the wrong for wanting to set up a government based off of a judiciary. I don't really see how that form of government would be any more tyrannical than one with a king. And really, kind of early on, I had decided that Morn was actually the good guy and Falcio was the bad guy in this. And really, it's not till the end when, Falcio and Morn have their final duel, but I'll talk about that more in a bit. Now, let's get to what I liked about this book. In this book, we learn the secret of how Falcio beat Kest in the contest to see who would become first cantor. And I really like how de Castell writes this. Basically what Falcio does is he spars with Kest in the days coming to the final fight, and he manages to train Kest in order to not take the killing blow when they duel. Basically, when Falcio puts himself in the situation where Falcio has to check himself, Falcio is then able to use that in order to get the coup de grace. Next, I want to talk about how Kest was able to beat Saint Caveil, the Saint of Swords. This sequence is just funny. Basically, Kest just tells Caveil a dirty joke. And my favorite saint of the series is Saint Brasti, whose naughty jokes slays all monsters. Now let's talk about the final fight where Falcio is able to beat Morn. Again, Falcio brilliantly sets this up with the speech that he gave the troops the day before. Then he uses the Avarians' war song against them. By setting himself up as the 7 versus the 1,000, it forces Morn into a position where he loses his temper. It puts Morn into a position where he violates the storytelling of the Avarians and offends them. I don't know how realistic the situation actually is, but it was a lot of fun to read. And I'm going to close on Aline's death. This book had me laughing nearly every chapter up until the point where de Castell decides to have Aline killed. And of course, this death kind of punched me in the gut. That's what it felt like. But it does set up a nice bittersweet ending for the novel. It does, kind of feel like a completion of the stories, and I think it's well done. I've really enjoyed reading this series. It's got to be one of my new favorites. I don't know where I would place it in my list of favorites, but it's been a lot of fun to read, and it really encourages me to see, if this is kind of what the state of modern fantasy is. I'm excited to read more of it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.